All right, Algebra 1, let's get ready to start off our week 5 with applied lesson number 8. Remember, have your notebook ready. Let's go ahead and get into our ebook if you need it for any of your stuff, but we're going to be doing our table of contents here. Once again, pause this at any time to copy down what you need. And so today under the applied, we're going to be writing on page 21. All right, so let's go ahead and copy down this graph. All right, now that you've carefully copied this down, we're going to go ahead and use a slope triangle here. I want to teach you guys about a slope triangle in case you forgot. So I like to start with the left point and move right. So I'm going to start with this top point here, and I'm going to go down, and I went down 1, 2, 3 spots. And then I'm going to have to go over to the right 2 spots. So you see how I made a triangle? I went down 3 and right 2. So now slope, if you forgot, we always do rise over run. And since we went down 3, it's a -3. And then to the right is positive. So it's positive in this direction, negative to the left. It's positive going up, it's negative going down. So that's just a nice little easy slope triangle, and you can do it again if you wanted. If I went down 3, 1, 2, 3, and right 2, I'm right back on the line again, and it keeps happening. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And I could also go backwards. So I could go up 3 and left 2. So up 3 and left 2 is this. That's still the fraction -3/2. So you could also just put the negative to the side. Most people don't put the negative in the bottom. Most people put the negative either to the left of the fraction or on the top. So slope triangles are great. If anyone ever needs to get slope, you can plot 2 points and then just do a slope triangle and you've got it. All right, so now let's talk about steepness. And so here's the deal. When you're talking about steep, we're looking at how vertical something is. So if you look at the wall in your room right now, that wall is going to be about as steep as you can get. It's straight up and down. The floor, on the other hand, is very flat. That's going to be the least steep. So when I look at the red and green one here, I can just tell that the red one is closer to vertical. It is the steepest. So the red line is. Now, it doesn't matter if it's a negative slope or a positive slope. We ignore the sign. So there are some other ways to do this. We can do a slope triangle for each of them. So I'm going to do one for the red. Let me see a point where they touch at. It touches right here. And it touches right here. So it went down 3, right 1. And then I'm going to do the green line. Let me see, I can see there's a point here. And there's a point here. Up 2 and right 4. Which is 1/2. Make that a decimal, it's 0.5. Now, we're ignoring the negative. Just look at the number. The number 3 is bigger than a 0.5. So this is why the red line is steeper. Ignore the negative when we're talking about whether or not something's bigger or not. Because steepness doesn't matter whether you're going up or down. All right. Now, how to find the slope between 2 points? There are a lot of schools of thought on this. Now, historically, math teachers love to use this formula right here. I did it for many years. My teachers did it, but here's the problem. It's a great formula. It works every time, but people forget it. So unless you are actually using that formula, who's going to remember that? I like to just think about rise over run. And so in math, we use these little symbols. The rise is how your y's are changing, That's what this little triangle means. And the run is how your x's are changing. So the change in y over the change in x. And that's what this formula is doing. But I personally like to look at this more along the lines of a table. So what I do is I just make a real quick XY table. It's a lot less work than doing the formula. And I put each point in. Let me get a different color here. And I go -2, 5, and 8, -1. And so what I'm going to do is just use basic counting skills here. And to go from my x's, so my change in x, to go from -2 to 8, I had to go up. Well, -2 to 0 is 2 counts, and 0 to 8 is 8 counts. So 8 and 2 is, it had to go up 10. So the x went a positive 10. The y, it went from 5 to -1. Holy cow, that went down. So that's a negative. And how much did it go down? Well, 5 to 0 is 5, and -1 is one more, so it's -6. So what we're going to do is simply use the change. We put y over x here, -6 over positive 10. Now you can use the calculator or do it yourself, but we always reduce fractions if we can. 2 goes into both these numbers, so that's -3 over 5. 2 goes into 6, 3. 2 goes into 10, 5. And that is the easiest way, I think, to get the slope. We can use the formula. I'll show you. So to do the formula, you label one point the 1s, so x1, y1, and the other points to 2s, x2, y2, and we plug it in. And we go y2 minus y1, so -1 minus 5 over x2 is 8 minus x1 is -2. So you can see where mistakes can happen here. Look at all these negatives that are going around. Well, 8 plus 2 is 10. So we're getting -6 over 10. We got to the same thing. But man, those negatives can throw people for a whirl. So I don't personally like to teach it. I like to just think about the concept so you don't have to memorize a formula. And I just think of rise over run. And that's my slope. It's always rise over run. So let's practice a couple. So you got your 2 points. XY, I got 4, 2 and 9, 3. And we're going to look at how these changing. The X, it goes from 4 to 9. That went up 5 spots. The Y went from 2 to 3. It went up 1. So rise over run. 1 over 5. It's the change of Y over the change of X. You just always got to remember it's Y over X. And that's what people always forget. Let's come over here to this other one. And we've got 0, -5, and 3, -2. And this one goes from 0 to 3 is up 3. And -5 to -2, this is going up. From -5 to -2, it went up a positive 3. It's getting closer to 0. Well, that's kind of easy. 3 over 3, which is just 1. That's the slope. So we write it with an m. M equals 1 and m equals 1/5. So if you were like sitting there going, Mr. Steele, you went too fast. Remember, you're supposed to pause the videos so you can write stuff down. So you go, oh crap. You can go back and pause. All right, so what do you need to do? There is one homework problem. It's E261. And this is based off of last class's work with the big race. You're going to do your own graph. I would encourage you to get some graph paper. That's what I was telling you about last week. And you also need to finish this diagnostic for iReady. Only one person has done it. It's an easy grade, and this needs to be done by Thursday of this week. Right here, the 15th. So you just got to get into iReady and do the diagnostic. All right, guys, make sure you take quiz 2 during your Zoom meeting. You have up to 3 times that you can take it for this week, and it will average the scores together. If you like your score, don't take it more than once. If you did not take the first quiz, I went ahead and extended the time till the midnight of Tuesday night so that we can make sure we get everyone a chance to take it, so we don't put a 0 in there. So make sure you knock out that quiz. It is due Tuesday at midnight for quiz 1. All right, guys, take care, stay safe, and have a good day.